It's been a long week here in London, but we finally culminated it all to this grand final. The best of three will decide who's taking home $30,000 and who's going home with a boo-boo face. But before we get into that game, I actually want to introduce to you two young gentlemen hailing from two different parts of the world and two very different individuals all vying for the same thing here today. On my left, I will be bringing out Mr. Edward, hailing from the CIS region. It is the man from Navi himself. And right away, I'll just ask you straight up, man. It's been a long day for you guys already. It's been a long tournament here for you at the GG.Bet Ice Challenge. Are you feeling confident?
No, we didn't. That's why we play. That's why we play in this tournament, actually.
Nice. All right. Outstanding. So let's continue this show on the road. And I do have a member from Denmark himself. He is Gade. Now he's here representing North. We're going to bring him in as well. An absolute unit, and all the pogs in the chat for this gentleman. I would ask you the same, but according to our conversation earlier, you were in the gym just prior to coming here. Is there anything that you can tell us about that?
I mean, it's just about, prepping the bag for carrying my team, right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty simply put, hopefully they can't hear you. I don't think they would appreciate that as much as we did. And one thing I'm going to appreciate right now is you guys decided to take the longer road to get here to the finals. Why is that?
Like I said before, we didn't feel confident yet. So we need to find our game. More games, more confident.
More games, more confidence. I mean, is there any amount of games that you could possibly play to feel confident against North, I guess, is the real question. But you know what? I'm going to ask Gade that because...
We're going to replay best-of-5 match.
Oh, well, no, that's actually not in the script. Sorry, there will be no best-of-5s here today. Not going to happen. In a best-of-3, do you guys think you have the upper hand? You are coming from the upper bracket.
Yeah, I think we've been playing better than we did the last month. So just got to abuse that Navi has been looking a bit sloppy, right? And bring our A game.
Now, sloppy's one way to put it. Edward, I mean, you talk about confidence. You could tell me all day you guys weren't ready to come here and you're just getting geared up and ready to go. You guys got a lot bigger picture on the plate here. Of course, the major, but...
I just want to play CS. Let's play CS till the venue close.
And that might actually happen sooner rather than later. Guys, go ahead and shake your hands. Let's go ahead and get this grand final on the way. It's going to be Natus Vincere taking on Team North here at the GG.Bet Ice Challenge. And to deliver the action, it's going to be Sadakis and Henry G. Take it away, fellas.
I gotta love Edward's attempt at banter. He's just like, you know what, look, we sucked at this event. We're only here for practice. Why are we even doing this? Let's go.
He wanted to play best of 5. I respect that, but I don't think we'll have time. We do get kicked out in about 4 hours. We need to make this a little bit of a snappy one. But the way Navi been playing today, maybe that could be the case.
Well, the way they've been playing today, but also if you look at the context of the entire weekend, that could be a snappy one in the other direction. Flamey kind of gave it away in the interview this morning when I was speaking with him. They have brought Dust2 into their pool. That's not an unwise decision to make going into the major, especially because Astralis don't really play it as much, and it kind of gives you that off angle, if you will, toward Astralis, and that has to be the goal. They played it yesterday. Their stats going into it aren't amazing. They did win it, sure. If that Dust2 pick fails, we go to Nuke right after. And Nuke with North, a Danish team, typically is a threat.
It absolutely is. Dust2 is a really interesting one, though. I agree with you. Flamey did seem keen to actually present that map, and I think they're getting it ready for the major. Obviously, they want to bring that to that pool. They are slightly limited. Some of their better maps historically have dropped off now. Inferno, for example, doesn't look as promising as it once was. Mirage can be a bit of a nightmare for them. They're trying to bring another strong map in, and why wouldn't you? You've got some of the greatest aimers in the game on your team. Dust2 is all about loose gameplay, finding the headshots, and that's what they can really do. If they're going to win this, though, I do agree. Dust2 really does need to come in their favor. Speaking of hard hitters, though, North are a team that's got so much talent, it's just not quite clicking. Well, it hasn't really clicked at all yet with this project. They've had one big trophy win, that was DreamHack Masters, around 6 months ago. That was under the helm of MSL. Cadian's come in, and he's even said himself, he knows his leadership is not of the par, his sniping's not of the par, and he's trying to work on it and get this team together. And hopefully, we see them put up a bit of a fight here. Sometimes the storylines of these grand finals, they play a great tournament right up until this point, and then it all falls apart. We've seen it so many times.
Absolutely, and just to speak on the Cadian note, we know that with all the support behind North, FC Copenhagen, bringing in the Adidas sponsorship, GG.Bet, there's going to be a lot of pressure on them this year to really elevate that game back to where it was, back to where we saw sort of that 3-team Danish presence with Heroic previously in that mix as well. You go back to years gone by. They absolutely have to perform this year, so there's not going to be a whole lot of time for Cadian if they don't start turning things around very, very soon.
Yeah, well, at least without the major being there, they've got, what, 3 weeks now to really hone their skills and actually work on the theory side of the game. They've got to build everything from the ground up, I would say, forget all the past systems and actually focus with the new coach and see what they can do. This has been a great experience for them after having such a crashing defeat at the minor. Now they've come to this tournament. Sure, it might not be top tier and it's only 4 teams, but they've actually got to the grand final here and they've taken down some big names on the way. Hopefully they can give us even just a decent showing here. I'd be happy if I'm North, if I get a decent map and just put up a good fight here against Na'Vi, who are looking individually incredibly sharp today. I'm not sure if you caught Flamey's action earlier. He was looking godlike. He was actually one of the strongest fraggers on the team. Electronic up there as well, and Simple. You always know he's going to deliver, and Edward towards the bookend of Mirage looked great.
You do expect that Simple's always going to deliver,
Indeed.
and he did get there late in the game yesterday on Dust2, but it was actually Flamey and Electronic that did most of the lifting on that map for the I would say first, 18 rounds it was that Simple was near the bottom of the frag charts. So that's actually something to look at in a positive light. If those 2 players can continue to have that sort of game today on this map, and then Simple also contributes, they're going to be incredibly sharp.
I can't wait. It is an entertaining prospect. When Na'Vi are fired up and everything's clicking and is looking good, it's a scary, scary team to play against. We saw 2v5s fall apart. Simple Electronic alive in a 2v5, you can't discount them. They can make unbelievable things a reality. As there's Edward. He's always been a bit of a streaky player, but today at least he looked very, very good, especially with the AUG. It seems like a lot of players that maybe struggled with rifling in the past and weren't big fraggers actually finding decent numbers now with the AUG. We're seeing a lot of people adapt and use this new weapon. I say new, it is
been around forever.
New to this kind of meta, I guess, and the way it's the game's developing. Everyone seems to be doing much better with that rifle, and for good reason. It's excellent. Dust2, you'll probably see a lot of it as well. We'll have the 9th round momentarily. It's not a massive talking point on Dust2, that's for sure, because it's not really a T or CT side of map. You probably would do start CT if you have to, but it doesn't matter. I think Na'Vi have got the advantage here. You have got them as the favorites, and we're just looking to see improvements from North and hopefully some signs of life for the future.
There have been teams in the past that like to start T-side on Dust2.
Yes.
I mean, look, there's probably been an occurrence or an instance in any map that someone's done that, including Nuke. In fact, I can recall Nip doing it on Nuke at one point in time, but Dust2 seems to be one that teams actually have gone to as their default to start T-side. Same with Cash. So yeah, those 2 maps, definitely it's not as important which way you want to get things underway. AZ getting a quick little massage. Mither, the new coach behind them. Came in actually a day before this event. Ave electing to step down to spend more time with family. It's tough. I mean, I think at the stats last year, the average team within the top 20, they spent 200 days on the road each of those teams. Some more, obviously. That's an average. You look at a team. Astralis took some time off, so maybe not so much them, but a team like Liquid out of North America, spending a lot of time in Europe last year at events, boot camping over there numerous times.
Sure.
You're on the road a lot as any of these rosters, any of these players.
Well, it looks like we're getting ready for this grand final. If you are just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, we've been playing for the last 3 days in this 4-team tournament. There is a $50,000 prize pool here, and it all finishes at this point. It's the first map of our best-of-3 series. It's going to be Dust2. We kick things off with a knife round to decide who will be starting attack or defense, and you can see they're quite tentative. It's not a huge deal here. It'll be over momentarily, and it will be underway with the action. There might be a huddle, and I'm hoping, Matt, with this Octagon, I want to see utilized in the final. I want to see some standing up. I want to see some shouting. I want to see some passion.
I tried this morning again to get them going. I tried both days to get them underway. I even said kick the PCs if you have to.
You couldn't have done more.
Freiburg.
You even said, oh, you guys should be former teammates, right? Like, he replaced you.
I was
nothing.
trying. No,
nothing at all.
Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah. Okay, come on, dude.
Yeah, well.
Throw me a bone.
I feel like if North start getting fired up, they get a lead, we'll see some of that passion come through. They want this so bad. They want to just forget about the minor, move forward and actually have a positive start to this year. And hopefully get back on their feet and start rebuilding with the new coach, and hopefully a revitalized player like AZ, who has looked very good this tournament. It seems like maybe the pressure is off them now. Now have crumbled so much and it's gone so disastrously wrong, they can actually just focus on their own game and realize what the real problems are. There it is, the new coach. I think it's Mither we're going with.
That's correct, yeah, Mithril. It's short for Mithril.
His first day on the job was the first day of this tournament. So he had his work cut out for him, and all he can really do is answer.
So that was the first official day that it was announced,
yeah.
Which obviously they would have had to announce it before the tournament. I get a suspicion they probably were working with him a little bit ahead of time. Really?
First day of the job
he had quite a plethora of notes
yeah.
on sheets, so obviously he's done some prep. I expected perhaps they were giving it a trial period before announcing it.
I guess it would be more like this is how these guys play on this map. It's all I can bring to you, and then it's more of a mental aid at that point, trying to just chime in and just get a feel for the team. He's not going to be overcalling Valdo or anything like that. So we'll see how this goes down. Ladies and gentlemen, looks like we're ready to go. This is the Bet GG Ice Challenge live from London. It's Dust2 to kick things off. It's a high-octane, high-fragging affair. We'll see who is starting the T side. Didn't quite grab that. It's a spawn-based map, and it's sort of talent on the server. That means it's going to be quite exciting. This man especially, they're trying to give him the P250. He's got that long spawn. He's going with the first pick, but no one there to receive it. So they will get long control for free, and that's an incredibly valuable part of real estate. But we can see the CTs pushing up a B, and who's waiting for them? It's Flamey, but not for long. AZ gets that kill, and they can fall back.
Considered the corner, checked everything. It's pistol round. They're going to be burrowed in, looking for off angles. Flamey down immediately. You mentioned it. AZ looking better so far in this event, and that continues into this pistol rounds. Bit of contact made toward long A as well. Shots down toward the pit. They're not actually going to dominate or establish a dominance at that position, anchor that position with someone staying in that pit position. They're going to rotate it back out to mid. And Simple takes the helm. He'll take the charge toward Catwalk. Contact made. Those ones on the right. And in fact, hasn't dropped down. Spots out KRB the second time. He will fall off of it, though blinded. He stays safely to CT, and it's Balda that finds the opener onto Electronic when they try and head toward the A platform. Bomb still in the hands of Zeus, but they're going to have to bail out. Great second shot as well. Simple gone, and AZ realizing that that likely means they are going to look elsewhere on the map. Rotates early through CT, finds Edward, and wants a knife. Oh, he's going to get it as well. Brilliantly done. 3 kills and an extra $1,500 to bring into the next round.
Absolutely. It is worth it. When you know you've got a guaranteed victory like that, he's being tagged up. Even if you don't get the knife, it's not a big deal. But he gets it. That's a massive cash injection. At this stage of the game as well, when force buys are so prevalent in this current patch, you'd think, yeah, that's definitely worth it. A clean sweep for North, just what they need here as we get into the second round. Will AZ be picking up a full array of utility with his rifle, or maybe getting ready for the AWP in the next round and pass it on? We'll see. It's AZ with, indeed, with the AUG, the incendiary, the smoke. He's making sure he feels flush, and he will be high rolling into this one, as there is no force buy apart from Simple, and that is a bit of a problem now, because we know he is the author of this squad, right? And we didn't see the AWP out yesterday until round number 13 of their best of 3. So him getting Deagle and Armor, sure, he might be able to get a 1D. He'll definitely get a 1D.
Yep.
And at that point, we'll see what they can do with it. I'm just going to shut up and let him do his thing, I think.
He gets one back. MP5, we're starting to see that kind of fall out of favor yet again. In fact, Kiabi already equipped on the MP7, rather. UMP still probably the most viable, in my opinion. MP5 just doesn't have that mid-range potential that UMP certainly has. It's great up close, but this range, it's not the best. Somehow, Gade makes it work through the edge of the box, pops back out, finds Electronic blinded up, flashed in by a teammate, easily able to get the kill. He will go down to the end, but Kiarbi closes out on the other two with the opposing MP gun. And it's now another round for North 2. So far, none from Na'Vi.
But here come the AKs.
Yes.
This is where things get a little bit dangerous for them. The AK-47, for those not aware, is one of the most lethal weapons in the game, at least in the rifles. It has the one-tap potential, as opposed to the M4 can't do that. It means you can challenge positions with the spawns on Dust2 and actually get viable headshots, as that's what Simple was going for there. Remember, he forced one the second round. He could have had an AWP now if he took a full eco, but he went for this instead, going for that scout. We'll see if this is going to be anything to write home about. With AUGs across the board pretty much for North. They have got an M4 there for Valdo and Cadian with a residual MP7, as the mid split looks very likely. I say split, they've actually got all 5 players in this position. They might just get mid control and fall back towards shore without any tunnel presence at all. Could be a little bit tricky for them. AZ suspects something, and does he know Flamey's already made his way out? He does now, and he will be dropped after throwing his incendiary as well to 5-on-4 advantage for Na'Vi. Incendiary to push Edward out, and he might try and use his opportunity to get yet another frag.
He'll hold forward of the Flames. This is where they had most of the openings in the early parts of yesterday's Dust2 game against AVANGAR. All toward Catwalk, usually on refrags and trades. Remember, there was this particular 5-on-3 in which Electronic found 3 kills to make it work, but it's Cadian instead that has the AUG. Slightly better range than the M4, certainly with the scope on top of the weapon. Finds one down top mid. It's going to be Kiarbi now working at the car, spotting backwards. Standard procedure. They've already got establishment toward top mid, so he knows long A is not a problem, but looks backwards to the site, won't be able to deny the bomb, and Simple's going to hold with an AK. Foot will show, but he's ready for the headshot directly underneath, and Gade walks out, doesn't even check it. Simple finds one, can beat Cat, doesn't have to commit to CT at all at this point in time. Decent setup and a good trade by Electronic to find Kiarbi. That opens up long again for a moment because Valda rotating in that direction at least gets there before Edward's ready for it.
There's still a chance here for North, but just a slither. Simple, so good in these sort of situations, but not quite good enough this time. Electronic 1 versus 1. Can he find the headshot? Not quite, but he does get the kill regardless. It will be Cadian to be dropped there at 1 versus 1 towards the end. So, after having a couple of expensive rounds there as well, North might be able to scrape together a buy, or they could look at the bigger picture. You might want to rely on getting your full array of rifles, the AWP out, save everything you've got, or try and answer back and reset Na'Vi at this point. The fact it came down to 1v1 suggests they might go for this force here and see what can be done. It'll be a mixture of SMGs, Scouts, Deagles, and there it is. And actually not too bad. They do get 3 rifles, so they've gone for firepower over strategy here. You can see those 3 players with rifles with no grenades whatsoever, no kits, and those 2 pistols there. So gone all in.
In fairness, it's not as much requirement on Dust2 to have defensive utility. Sure, you can use it for the cross at the start. That's a bit of a chance shot anyway. B tunnels, long cave. Anything beyond that you can play without. I mean, again, you'd love to have it all. You'd love to put the Molotovs on catwalk. You'd love to slow them down, but it's an angles game, so I can understand the firepower decision.
We'll see how it works out for them. It's a double stack towards shore here. Electronic, very good at opening up bomb sites. He's got to find 2 kills here. Will the trade come through? Certainly not. That's wonderful by him. And opening a little gambit towards shore, yields 2 kills and the 3rd from Flamey.
Keep in mind that stack was done with 2 pistols for a reason. The pistols certainly get the running gun potential. The movement mechanics are favorable for them. And up close, they do a heck of a lot more damage than the fall off at range. So it was a good find from Electronic, but it wasn't a whole lot lost in terms of rifles. The bigger kill was actually over toward B, as the AUG found a quick one on back sight. Valda all the way through to T-spawn. Probably going to hold up here at this point in time. If he can find a kill, if he gets cheeky, looks through suicide and actually spots someone, there's a chance in the round for them. If not, and the bomb gets toward the A side, oh, it's not going to. It's going to be found. They would get that down. He might consider saving. Good response from Edward. That pretty much hinged the round.
Brave peek from him. Not necessarily required. Sure, time was low, but I guess he wanted to get the insta-trade and make sure he lands a shot. He had the Galil, but he does nail it. Got to respect the confidence there, and AZ shouldn't have anything to say about this one. He's currently burrowing away on the A side, and the bomb heads towards B. This was the full investment there from North. They had the 3 rifles, the 2 pistols, as you mentioned. The double stack towards short hopefully would have worked out for them because they can actually work off each other, have 24 bullets of CZ hell to spray towards Electronic, but really didn't work out for them. He's got such crisp aim today. As we mentioned quite a few times, actually made his way in towards the top 5 of most valuable players of 2018. So that was excellent to see that. A new signing for Na'Vi. Everyone's excited about it. It was a turbulent start for him. Didn't necessarily come in swinging to the lineup, but after a few months, he really came to his own.
I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that he was such a young talent on so many teams that weren't quite established, and he was given freedom in those roles. He was very much carrying some of those underdog teams. Now that he gets put on a team with such structure, such a great amount of skill around him, certainly playing under Simple in a lot of ways in terms of skill, not to discredit, not to take anything away from Electronic, but he's certainly not the standout. He had to get used to that. He had to adapt. He had to find his footing in the team.
Well, he did say famously in an interview once that one day I will be better than Simple, which is
that's pretty promising.
Yeah, well, you've got to respect the confidence, as there he is, the man himself. One of the key names of the Na'Vi machine. Edward on the end, the old guard, as they deliberate over their options going into the next round. This is a pause. You can see the new coach coming in now, working out how they're going to approach this situation. They forced ball previously. So there are options on Dust2 actually. You talked about the cross towards middle, but that vision can be taken away with 1 smoke. And then you can start doing things like 5-man stacks towards the B-bomb site or 4 nades towards long doors and hopefully catch them off when they're trying to go for something a little bit quicker. So that's why he's got to read their tendencies, what they usually do. That's the coach's job to work out when they are in these scenarios and they know they're up against ecos, what do they usually do? What are the things they like to try when they get a good spawn? So if you can drop a smoke towards middle, you can have a boost up short, go for a stack somewhere. There are options, and mistakes have been made. And you can see that long spawn there for the T side. They almost certainly will take it. So if a long stack did come through those nades, they could get a kill and steal a rifle away. And we'll see if Na'Vi want to take that pick initially. I'm almost certain they will. Not many players will give up a long spawn like that.
Off he goes then with it.
So
AK in hands. Flash out at long as well. Simple now gets toward the dumpster. He's going to confirm that that's open, but you're right. Stack up towards short with the boost as well, which gives the headshot downward toward the tunnels. Much easier than walking up the wall and getting Far less pixels to fire at, so AZ makes no mistake to find Flamey. Continuing good form for him on the AUG. He's the only rifle. They make it work, and they'll be dynamic. They're going to rotate him off that position and back toward the site. Meanwhile, a push through the B tunnels is going to give them a ton of information. And you pointed out something interesting. This was a pick strat. Essentially a default to look for kills before they commit. And Cadian's found not only a kill, but a weapon to work with that was beneficial. But Bomb was back in spawn. They nearly got all the information they needed on the north side.
This is so chaotic. They spotted the bomb and T spawn here, and Valda gets that kill. Bomb drop once again. It's up to Electronic with a minute on the clock to try and work out this 2v1 situation. He has got a Molotov, a flashbang available to him, but what's his choice here? Luckily for him, the CTs are segregated right now. They're not working together. Valda, 5 HP, can't really challenge for a duel here. Has to wait for the plant, the full commitment to come through, but Electronic is heading in the direction of AZ. He has no grenades, but he has more HP and the rifle. Already got 2 kills to his name as he perfectly times the A ramp. And now, will he be spotted? Indeed. And the Molotov should flush him out. I think a kill will be coming in here. And Electronic left in the 1 versus 1.
1 versus 1 against 5 HP on Valda without a kit or armor. Remember, this started with just 1 weapon, so they found themselves in a very, very fortunate situation on the north side, but they can't close it out. Quick peek from Electronic. Pretty brave, you could say, in a one-on-one, but knew he had the bomb down and likely was going to be rotating back over, considering there was no pressure on him when he was planting the bomb. So good read. And around for Na'Vi.
Yeah, very well played by him. As soon as he gets that first kill on AZ, it's a lock-in, as you mentioned, 5 HP, and also he knows his teammates are told him low, he won't have armor, he can definitely be a little bit more audacious than usual, as he'll be almost certain he won't have grenades either. Zeus with the Glock right now, I assume he's going to be dropped a pistol or something. There it is, the AK we purchased up right at the end, as we get into another gun round here. Remember, Cadian, underwhelming with the AWP, up against Simple here, and he's going to be spotting towards long doors. That's a brave pick to take, and you can see without armor as well, even with wallbang damage, he's taking a lot. 1 bullet took him down to 69 as Electronic is probing towards middle. He's so ready for these heads-up duels. That's a really difficult shot against this potential CT AWP on that side.
A few people in the arena asking yesterday about the X-ray, as everyone on Twitch chat certainly knows right now. The outline around the players, that's strictly for the observers.
Yes,
the players don't see that, which is why you see the uncertainty of holding angles. It'd be pretty straightforward if they knew where everyone was.
Yeah, would be a bit of an odd concept, but just to show everyone the positions, and sometimes we'll turn it off in the really key clutch moments so you can just demonstrate the skill and awareness these guys have.
So Simple already through mid doors, holding with the AWP towards CT spawn, wants to catch anyone in transition. That may happen soon, considering the setup on A. A long player already toward pit. Car swing, this is pretty much as default as it gets on the CT side. And then the A player, usually the A plat player at this point, AZ, is either on Goose, or he is now, or rotating back through CT. Smokes down in mid already. They're going to be late to push that position. Maybe they can get it off the ramp above the smokes, but Kjærby has to step up, and he does. 2 from window. Will take down the mid part of the take, and immediately they go back toward tunnels. Gade's aware of it, and Kjærby steps out to make a perfect kill. That's very well played, considering they were basically in a 3-2 split with only 2 to hold the site.
Yeah, beautiful hold there. Kjærby actually abusing the fact there was a smoke dropped by the T's there. He manages to take down the orb straight away. It's very difficult to communicate the exact location of the death, because at that point you're coming out of smoke. You didn't necessarily see him. He managed to get the double spray down, and that works perfectly. For the setup they had there, Kjærby taking all that attention towards the window. It means the tunnel players are coming in focus to that position. We had a boost above the tunnels, easy kills coming in, and a clean sweep for North. Ties up at 3-3, and Na'Vi now again, getting Simple on Deagle armor. It's a weird one for me. Like, you want him on the AWP. Sure, it can be dropped, but him having the Deagle and the armor and spending all the cash, it seems like it's almost a waste. It's sure got the potential for a kill, but it's not going to be round defining.
Easy. A little bit late to get a clean shot onto Flamey, but certainly spotted his backside and tried to do damage through the door. Surprisingly, came out empty on that. It looked like the AUG was reasonably close. Flamey gets away a little bit unscathed, well, completely unscathed, but a little bit lucky, I should say. Valda, meanwhile, back out toward Long. Back turn from his teammate, still watching and waiting for flashes. You want to have one player looking for vision in the event that they don't flash, which is the case now. And the other looking away in the event that they do. You swap the positions, and one will always be ready to fight. Cadian back out, but Electronic from range. These pistols, this is a massive turn of events and a huge problem. 3 kills between both Simple and Electronic, and it's Kjærby and Gade left alive.
He's going to hit this. Oh, I thought it was coming through. He's going to go plant the bomb. He spotted the player in towards T-spawn, right? Problem is, yes, they're going to get this plant. They have no utility to really fend this off. Electronic has to come through T-spawn. The timing's not going to work out from the time he gets there. Gade's already got in the tunnel, so he won't get that bit of intel. But if he walks now, he might be able to catch him in transition. He's making way too much noise. Gade's heard him. That's an easy frag. And at this point, it's up to Simple. This guy's good. He's going to have to be exceptional to find a kill here.
Doors is not a bad decision because he can get in and out of situations, finds one kill, exactly that, runs down, gets the AK, isolates it to a one-on-one. Entirely winnable because the bomb still ticks, and each second further favors Simple because all he has to do is play it. Nate's going to get him off it, gets to the window. That's brilliant. That was positional 100%.
I love the fact I question his decision to buy up the armor there, Matt. He spends all his money. It actually protects him. It allows him to be viable in that clutch situation. And we've seen it so many times. If Simple and Electronic are alive in those sort of scenarios, wild things are going to happen. Simple just seems to play those situations perfectly as well. It's not just down to aim. He seems to know how to play these clutches perfectly every time. He drops a nade literally on the feet of the diffuser there as he goes near the bomb and then peeks him. He's already rattled him at that point with 50 damage and takes the round. So it is going to be Na'Vi using that long spawn once again, taking a little bit of damage from the grenades. The long stack from the CTs. Will they get nothing back here?
Hold already flaming out toward Dumpster, needs support. Edward's going to give it to him. Peeks out knowing that they'll pursue. If they're running him down with pistols, there'll be more than one, and there certainly was. It's two in the end. And then Flamey walks back out to return the favor. Unfortunately, Edward went down beforehand, but job done. Just Cadian left, no investment. Does have a Zeus. Might have been a misbuy at that point in time, but nothing really to speak of. Interesting as well. You win one round with pistols in a back-and-forth game as it has been, and instantly the economy's broken on the CT side. This is a big advantage for Na'Vi. They can start to run with this half now.
Well, this has been the main thing for me in Na'Vi. It's not so much they're looking great as a team right now, but finally, all five members just seem to be having moments of brilliance. Like that moment from Electronic there, Simple, always going to be great in those clutch situations. And that's why they're such a fantastic team. They're not the most strategic anymore, but the firepower they possess, and when they're on, they really are red hot. As we get into round number 9 here, 5-3. North still very much in this game, but you can see no kits, Gade with no utility whatsoever. So another very fragile situation. A short control's already in, and we can see it's going to be Simple challenging that position up against AZ, who's got the org, but now smoked, at least vision, taking vision away. Yeah,
that smoke designed typically to actually push through rather than deter vision. It does, don't get me wrong, but it allows you to get further into the site and take the angle away from AZ's position on the ramp. Gate, Mid, already isolated behind, gets one. That's an immediate trade. It was pretty much always going to be that position with that situation. So many players around them, and Na'Vi today looked much better than yesterday. They were struggling to get executions done against AVANGAR. Today, they're opening up bomb sites time and time again.
I think the key thing from your interview this morning was that he said it felt like everyone's overcalling each other. The communication was off. I think that was absolutely evident in their games. They couldn't really make their mind up where they were going, where they're committing to. People weren't trading. It seemed like there was multiple ideas coming through. I think they've just had to sit down and said, right, this is the in-game leader. We're going to do what he says. You're not going to overcall him, and you're just going to listen and go in together and actually trade off each other and communicate efficiently. That seems to be happening today. We haven't really seen much of that from Na'Vi this entire tournament. A little bit of it today, this morning, but this has been fantastic so far. They are going to go up 6-3 and find themselves with AZ and the org currently holding by the long pit. I don't think he is long for this world, though.
Gets one, and he might have the angle still. Second player peeks. A bit awkward from Zeus. Took him a minute, but he got there in the end because AZ was trying to jump up on the box. Yeah, I mean, when you're Na'Vi, we know this. You go back to Starix when he was on this team. You had Seized in the lineup. There was famous events. I remember Pro League in 2015. Between maps, you go outside, and they were screaming at each other. Yes. I mean, first and foremost, love the CIS region, but they can be quite aggressive in
passionate
general.
People.
They are very passionate people, and it seems to be the case with a lot of the personalities, even on this team. Electronic, I will say, seems to be a little too outspoken at times. You can kind of see it in his body language. And Flamey's another one that sometimes gets angry about it. That's a pretty stellar shot from an AK. It was against a pistol pushing through, but it's still pretty accurate. Yeah, just how clean it was what's impressive. Sure, like the fact you kill a player without armor, but it's the range and how efficient he was, and just confidence with the bullet placement was impressive with the A stack coming in. This is a gimme round. That's called based on Simple saying the only guy that crossed actually pushed me. He's down. Go B. That's why it's still viable to, even on these full ecos, maybe just drop one smoke towards middle so you can at least experiment with a stack. If you don't drop that smoke in middle at all and one guy crosses, you're just going to, your AWP or whoever's spotting middle is just going to say, yeah, just go and B. There's one there. And you'll take it and win every single time. And you can see these guys having some fun now.
as they play whack-a-mole towards short. It will be AZ again remaining as he's got 5 players to find. Well, essentially just one. If he can kill one player, get an AK out of this, he'll be fine with that. But they know exactly where he is, and Simple, oh, he's not slowing down, is he? Simple and Electronic once again get all the kills.
Yeah, the other aspect of this is look at the money that Simple has. 14K pre-buy.
Yes.
Doesn't have to buy anything. One nade, that's it. They haven't been getting enough kills. Even, I had this conversation earlier with someone explaining the game to them. Even if you're losing the rounds, getting kills is extremely important because you make it costly. Now, for the CTs, which it's already more expensive to buy into rounds anyway, guns cost more on that side, you've got to win numerous rounds in a row, be efficient in doing it, and make sure that you kill just about everyone on Na'Vi every single time to have any chance of breaking the money.
Yeah, I think I try and make a point of the VAR casting that every kill has a knock-on effect. Maybe not that round or even the next round, but if you do get to reset them and they can't afford an incendiary, for example, because of that previous kill, it actually all adds up. If you can steal even just one kill away and survive with your weapon, that's enough just to have a knock-on effect going forward. Counter-Strike has got so many layers to it, and the finance system really is the main part of it. But
yeah, it stood the test of time too. How many games have come and gone since 1999 when this has been prominent?
Yeah.
I mean, the money system is a huge part of this game.
It really is, and other games have tried to replicate it, but there's nothing quite like it. As we get into a tactical pause for North, I believe they have weaponry here. Remember, it's the AWP of Cadian. He said himself he wants to start stepping up and show the world what he can do. AZ's no different. He is technically the secondary sniper of this squad. Can he mount the first shot? Time will tell. He's got glass cannon, though, so can't really justify being super aggressive here. But on a map like Dust2, there are safe spots to position yourself to try and find a kill and safely fall back.
Flamey.
Boosted.
Yep. It's a clever little boost as well because we talked about the reverse side that we saw from AZ. By boosting now, and he's even walking out with his teammate underneath of him, it's even harder to spot that head, and he gets deeper vision. That's a decent counter to it. They don't spot anyone this time, but when they do get aggressive, KRB and AZ finally putting more pressure on the mid side. Great crossfire for finding kills on both weapons, and already Na'Vi has to reconsider.
The double AWP setup, infamous on Dust2 for sure, and when things get a bit desperate, it can be a go-to sometimes. You can see working out very nicely so far, but still Simple alive with Edward and Zeus. Edward does get a bit of long control, but there is a bit of a fly in the ointment here. Valda, this is such a strong position. Very difficult to knock players out of this spot unless you get a flash in first and challenge together. If Edward just walks around the corner, he is dead. No one to back him up, and time ticking away. I assume he makes his move in the next 10 seconds or so. Does he dare go any further than the corner? Actually, will go back as his teammates start probing towards middle. 2 CTs residing in the B bomb site. That's AZ with the AWP. That's a guaranteed frag if Zeus decides to face. He'll have to smoke in front. That will call for rotations with the time remaining, and AZ just waits for his opportunity to get one kill and stay alive.
Box position for an AWP. We talked about this yesterday. Typically, you have it in mid, more so on A, but in mid position of B. To get in this area is so powerful, but the smoke off, he's not able to find a single pick. Gade's got the information for him, and AZ actually comes up with nothing. It's such a frustrating angle to try and counter out with the T's, but Gade doing just enough to push them off. And time expires, they'll keep 2 guns up, bomb never planted.
I respect that from AZ, though. We know how strong the money is for Na'Vi. If he does get one tap to the back there and they don't recover the AWP due to the time remaining, that's actually more detrimental to North than the comparison of him getting 1 kill and then going down as well. It's better just to stay alive and make sure you maintain that double AWP setup, in my opinion. So he does a good job there, doesn't pay anything to risk. As you can see, the odds coming in from GG.Bet. It is heavily favoring Na'Vi right now, but still a close game. This is certainly capable of turning around at this point. The double AWP setup out for North and finding some success with it. It is going to be the long take here from Na'Vi, presumably smoking both sides of the corner. It looks like that might be a little bit shallow. Could be a gap there as Flamey goes towards short. They're going to go for an A split here with 3 focusing towards long with the bomb, and it'll be Flamey leading the charge, trying to pincer towards the A site. We have got Valda in that same position we saw previously by the pit, as they haven't been probing long too much yet. The smokes go down, trying to bait out utility perhaps, and here's Cadian. Will he be able to challenge the pick of Simple, which presumably comes momentarily?
Cadian waiting patiently from Goose. It's a standard setup again this time. Difference being the at that position on the site rather than swinging from the car. So it's a rifle rotation. A dynamic player has to be Gade in this position. Cadian already forced off. Double Molotov down this time. Unlike yesterday, they include the site directly, but look at the shots from Gate 2 from the AUG already. That gives Cadian all of the information he needs. Peeks out, easily disposes of Electronic. Simple was lost to Kirby in the meantime. Bomb down, Edward with 34. We're starting to get to that money situation. They are actually starting to chisel into it.
I can see what Na'Vi are trying to do here, but I feel like they're overcomplicating things on Dust2 once again. You had the corner smokes down. You had a player isolated by the pit. You could have flashed over, taken and got control, then gone towards short. They dropped those smokes, trying to bait out some utility, didn't get anything for it. Up towards short they go, and you could see didn't really have anything left to really knock Cadian out of position. Gade, with the AUG, gets 2 kills there. Suggests it was a very basic push on towards the A side, hoping they could trade out kills. The AUG came out on top. Well, Cadian to finish things off, and Edward can't do anything with this. I feel like on Dust2, you're much better getting control of a really key area of the map. Those those long smokes are really important to actually try and get that control. Then you can fall back and continue with your defaults. But we will see North now really coming to life. You can see the fist bumps coming through. The coach happy with this new double orb setup. It seems like it's working out much better for them.
Simple not on top. It is Electronic again, but he's had more impact early on than yesterday. Zeus only with 2. Flamey's not quite as hot as he was on Catwalk. But it's fine. They've got the lead, 7-5. 2-round lead on the T side. I say T side. That's for context more than for effect. Again, it's a pretty even map between the 2 positions, but the early lead certainly alleviates some pressure that we saw yesterday from the boys.
Well, short control, that's been gathered quickly by Electronic. He manages to get up there in a nimble manner. It's going to be simple to deploy the Molotov. At the closed doors actually makes things a little bit toasty for Galbi. He has to drop a smoke and essentially give away his position, as now the AWP of AZ trying to get vision towards short and hoping to catch any players transitioning up to join Electronic. That's going to be simple, unable to land the shot though, but does get a bit of intel as they hold and wait for the response grenade. Usually once you CT spot 2 go up towards short, they'll drop the smokes here, or Cadian will go for the pick. This is a big move. He misses the shot. He'll have a very short amount of time to get out of there.
Not time at all. Doesn't even get a chance to fire. And Simple just absolutely destroys him. Tough shot for Kirby, but he can control the peak on that because Simple's head shows, but if he runs forward, Kirby just goes down the ramp. He is in the money seat in that situation, believe it or not. So as hard as it is to hit, he makes no mistake on it. Edward disposes of Valda, still in behind the low HP. Wanted to try and flash himself out of the position, couldn't do so. Kiabi took advantage, but it's back to the site where problems exist, and Kiabi realizes everyone behind him is gone. He's got to turn around and face the music. 3 Na'Vi players in front of A, and another round for them as a result. They're 8th in this half.
Well, there you go. It was Cadian trying to take matters into his own hands. They're communicating well. AZ, he's positioning his AWP towards middle to spot players going up towards short. He got the intel. Didn't get any damage off, but that's fine. Cadian had time to reposition, but some of the shots Simple hits. No other players will. It's very difficult to play against. 1 bullet to the dome, took him down. That was the access they needed towards the site. And Kiabi, great job. Some nice shots there, but couldn't quite do enough. And they do have another buy here, this time on the single AWP. You can see Valdez on the UMP. Having a rough time towards long, as Cadian knows he has to work hard here. He can't just rest on his laurels on the bomb site. He probably has to be a little bit more active and ready to duel as he positions himself by those double doors. And Edward, he'll find a young Kiabi there in the long doors trying to get a bit of intel.
It's a bold push. It's a tough one to get away with. You really got to be certain that you're going to make it through, and without crossing to pre-check the angle, they just walked in all too easy. But they're pulling it back. I'll be getting a little bit aggressive considering they had the man advantage. 2 in mid go down. Simple, top of the box, smoke down. He's actually got 1 behind him. This could cost him. He sees the gun now, but he doesn't get a chance to fire at it. He really wanted to line that up, but had no idea where the second player in the site had gone. He found out the hard way.
Well, there it is, Edward and Zeus. You can't imagine this duo being able to pull back a 4-on-2 right now, considering the bombs and B tunnels. But Zeus control the A sites, but there is a player towards long. That's an incredibly difficult shot. If he's up against an AUG, especially, he's not going to win that duel. AZ patiently waiting in CT spawn. That smoke's not going to do too much for them. The best they can hope for now is Edward somehow gets up towards short safely, doesn't drop that bomb, and can maybe get a plant down here. And Zeus does get another kill. That isn't bad at all. That was the player towards long. Valda actually pushing his luck, could have just held the pip, but now it goes to the 3 versus 2. Edward making his way forward. They're going to drop the Molotov towards short, and actually CT spawn as well. We're doing a lot of damage here at Cadian. So brave to push through the flames. You can see his confidence finally arriving here in this tournament. He's had a difficult showing the last few months. The minor wasn't great for him. He's had a lot of pressure on his shoulders, being the in-game leader coming from Rogue, which had a lot of success within context of the NA region and what they did with that project, and coming over to North, back to EU, seeming like he was ready, but his performance has dropped off, the team has as well, but this is looking like he's taking matters into his own hands at least, and he's willing to take these risks.
Yeah, that's what they need from him. You're right. Rogue was successful, but in a different sort of category to where North is on the world stage.
It's because no one expected anything from it, and
Exactly.
actually was relatively good.
And now you've got a ton of pressure with an org like North. Expectations are high. They train in the FC Copenhagen facilities. In fact, they have their own entire section of that arena for them. Their whole boot camp PCs, their offices are there, facilities for the team.
Flamey's so aware of this.
No excuse not to perform with that sort of setup, but you're right. Flamey is clear. He's got one already. He unfortunately has to deal with the fact that they go either side of the pillar. You can't reset the game fast enough, and it's a one-for-one trade. That still does favor the offense because it thins the defense considerably. They have to spread out more across the map. It takes a little bit longer to get information based on that. Thankfully, Hazy's going to be gifted a kill as Electronic backs down, but the problem is the Molotov behind him. Many had nowhere else to go.
Yeah, no retreat plan there. It's going to be 1 minute on the clock. 3 versus 3 certainly favors the terrorist forces here, but they're going for the most narrow choke point available. The B tunnel access is Kiabi. Oh, so unlucky not to spot the last player rotating up to those tunnels there. We'll see who is going to be finding the damage first. Gade rotates over. Excellent grenade. That softens him up nicely, and he gets himself in a decent position as well.
He does. Kiabi sneaking in behind. Just the 3 Augs to work with. HP in their favor, but Simple's always so aware. Turns around with AWP. Gate comes back out from Cubby. Get right position. We used to call it. He famously played that fence time and time again. And yet still Simple finds it in a one-on-one. AWP versus the AUG, which is out toward middle. Leaving CT spawn now is Volda. Top player on either squad going head-to-head as Simple has to hold with the smoke down, unaware of exactly where Volda's going to arrive from. But that Molotov, incendiary rather, gives away the fact that he is toward mid. Still, though, Simple considers doors. He has to look window. Dropped in, he's heard it. He's turned it around, still has to hit an incredibly close and skillful shot on an AWP. Forget the scope, no crosshair. He's just going to have to get it perfect, and he absolutely does. My God, Simple, time and time again.
How does he always play it to perfection? There's no mistakes. You can't poke any holes in his approach to that one. Most players that would smoke the door. That's what would be their natural objective, right? I'll smoke the door. I don't have to worry about that. He gives himself an absolute, invisibility cloak on the side there. He can just be walking around and the pressure's on the diffuser there. He's got to find him. He's using the sound cues and that information gathered from the incendiary being thrown and just toying with him. And again, Simple comes out trumps. Absolutely amazing stuff from him.
That's a ridiculous movement pattern. You're right. Self-smoking in a situation where he didn't even have the information. And the no-scope to finish it off. I mean, he keeps the op out. Most people might even pull the pistol at that point and hope that they catch the diffuser not looking.
The thing is, Valda almost played himself because most grenades don't make a noise, right, an audible cue, but the fact he throws the incendiary, you get a clear line of vision, not only with the flare behind it, but it makes a very obvious noise as to where it's coming from. So he gave up his position at doors. At that point, Simple's like, you know what? I'm going to be hiding behind this box and just walking around this smoke until you find me, which was impossible.
He also made a noise when he dropped in from window, which was unfortunate because Simple was fixed on the door waiting for him at that point, and then it was like, well, that's easy. Now I just walk to this side of it. You're directly in front of me.
So perfect. And that's the first half concluded. Will be Na'Vi up 9, North on 6. Still a very close game. Remember, North did win the first half pistol. They'll need to replicate that to boost their confidence going into the second half. It looks like a very fast mid approach. Not quite. They've got the smokes here. Got to go for the B splits, which is looking likely with 4 players going towards upper now. And we've got AZ ready to smoke in. That's going to be smoking the B doors, by the way, the one AZ's about to throw. So watch out for that. It's a really cool smoke.
That's an interesting smoke. I guess I could understand on the pistol that they just want to rush through and not give the USB any range. Typically that bounces a little further, but they just want to rush it in. You're right. Smoke's already down. Flashes in. Zeus finds first kill, but Volda, Gage. Oh, respond. Tremendous shot from Volda as well. Elevates himself on the box. That gives him just enough to see the top, the dome of Edward's head, and he gets it through the edge. Electronic finally responds with one back, but bomb already planted. No kits on either Simple or Electronic. They've got to go quickly.
There's no kits, you are right. Simple, such low HP. Heavy lifting has to be done by Electronic. He needs some quick kills now. He might be gifted one here, but working together, it's a great round. So let's break that one down. That is technically a B split, but only one player heading towards middle. AZ is essentially watching for the flanks. We saw him throw the smoke from shore. And what's so fantastic about that smoke is that's the only position you can actually smoke the B doors from without exposing yourself. A lot of CTs will be in transition and be peeking from the doors between middle and the doors. You take a lot of vision away, and you don't have to worry about that. When you you flash in and commit. It's a great smoke, and AZ can then hold towards middle, catch players crossing over from spawn, and allow his teammates really to focus on that B-bomb side.
Both pistols now going to North as well, yet finding themselves in catch-up mode, trying to tie this game up on 9. Na'Vi pistols have definitely been an issue for them. At this tournament, I'll say they've barely gotten away with it, if you even want to say that, but at the major, that's going to be unacceptable, so it's certainly something they're going to have to address. Stack on the A side, you pointed this out. Kiarby's already found Zeus. They haven't dropped off the ledge yet, but they will in Simple Falls in the meantime. Pretty straightforward round, in fact. So they go into the stack, but they took their time. They didn't rush it. They didn't get caught out by crossfires. They got the kills as needed.
And you go in as a 5-man unit as well, right? No one's left behind. Everyone's hitting the shots. And that's a real feel-good moment. You always get elated at that point when everyone survives and hits their shots, and you feel like the strat, even though you were caught up against 5 players, everyone did their job at that point. So here we go, the second half really beginning now. North got themselves back in the game with the pistol victory, looking to tie things up here, but a bit of a difficult round with the scouts out. UMP for AZ as well, as we have a 4 org setup. Electronic on the M4, Simple swings out towards middle, but this fast approach from North has shut him down.
Kirby up on Cats, already there. In fact, flashed for assistance. As Zeus fully blind, he's able to catch them rotating back through CT.
Oh my God, they've done them in there.
That's so much utility, so much flashes, and you're right. They know strictly by 2 players looking to CT A's open. They've got them in rotation, walk in. Round over. Na'Vi has to save these weapons.
And the reason they do that kind of play, that seems quite fast and loose and not really too methodical, is because they know there's a force buy in the second round there, and Na'Vi won't have everything available to them. You've got a couple of SMGs, a scout there. Let's get down Suicide. Let's get through those doors, get the first kill. As soon as you find that first kill, players have to rotate. They don't really know what's going on at that point. They don't know how much commitment is going in. It looks like a fast mid approach, but at that point, we've got a player at shore already waiting for those rotations, listening out for sound cues, hits that shot, confirmed he's got a bomb site open. Everyone fall back from middle, get up there, and it's a perfect round there from North, and that will tie things up, no problem at all. Some good news for Na'Vi is they're going to save 3 weapons, one of which is the AK, after Electronic picked up the only kill they got. Money for the AWP, certainly not there, but they'll still be within a fighting chance with 3 rifles remaining here. Oh, that long spawn, I just spotted it on AZ's monitor. Ideally want an AK for that. I think he's got an AUG right now, but I'm sure he'll take it. Could even be dropped the AUG by Cadian if they want and give that a go. It's a weird map. It's probably the only one we talk about the spawns on like that often.
Yeah, it certainly matters for long. And
Has he got the AUG? Oh, no.
Doesn't at this point. AUG's still sufficient. You're going to be looking for headshots. Get the scope in if you know the angle. Have the crosshair placement lined up with the head. You're pretty certain to get a kill from it. They didn't quite get there in time. I didn't see a flash go over from the T side. But nonetheless, they were deterred from peeking. Oftentimes, if you have that spawn, you've talked about this, Henry, because I've done it to you, and you've told me not to, is you don't want to flash. You actually want the player to be peeking. You want him to be there so you can get the shot. If you flash him off, you can still hold the angle, but if you're going for the kill, it's not going to happen.
Because you're almost warning them, there's a long push coming here. They can adjust and be ready for the flash and look away from it. If you go completely dry, they'll be assuming it won't be a rush or a fast pick there, and you can actually just out-duel them and use the peek as advantage to actually win out that duel. Especially with the AWP, more often than not, you probably don't want to flash. You just want to get out there and challenge them. But either way, round 19, and we will see not necessarily a force buy here. You can see there's residual cash from Na'Vi. They're looking at the bigger picture right now. They had 3 rifles left over. Certainly could have forced it, but that might cost them the game if they don't win the round. They can still win it with this sort of setup, but it's going to take a big play from the likes of Flamey, who's focusing towards middle, but the Xbox smoke blocks the vision as 3 Ts make their way towards the A-bomb site via short.
Short covered by Electronic. They have been doubling up this position, and this time, rather than having 2 watching the angle, it'll be 1 to flash in. AZ not caught by that. The right design, the right idea. A surprising movement from Zeus, though. AZ gets the kill. They have no further information, and he just gives himself up, not even behind coverage. Trying to transition lower. I'm not sure why, as Valda finds Flamey. Things looking very good for North on this T side. At Na'Vi, they're starting to show the holes. The same thing, the communication issues, the timings, they're just not there. That's going to give the lead to North. They're going to go up 10-9.
Ooh, this is Na'Vi's pick as well, just to note, as we go into Nuke next, and we know that can be a little bit disruptive for them. 5 players surviving once again for North here. They're starting to swirl in cash. We talked about Simple's money in the first half. Look at the North players go. They're all going to get 3,500 on top of what they have right now, and an extra 300 for Valda there. as we hit 10K on a few of them. Money is out of control. High rolling allows you to take a few more risks. You can go for some fast strats here. You can take some spawns. You can start to abuse the fact they won't have AWPs or incendiaries, and maybe even go for a few B rushes, who knows, as we have got some decent spawns on that side of the map. There's an easy screen for you. We'll see which way he's inclined. Still going to be rocking the AUG on the T side, as they do send 3 players in towards B. 2 crossover on the CT side. Double orb setup, similar to what happened in the first half for North. Lost a few rounds, and as soon as it got stable, bring out these orbs for this reason. He set turrets up around the map. Electronic strikes first to take down Kiabi, and Flamey doesn't feel like he's required in B, so falls back just to patrol middle and swaps out with Edward.
Edward's certainly waiting back on an off angle. Top box, wants to get headshots on the way through, but utility time to perfection, and he's rendered useless. Completely destroyed. Gate already had the angle. They had no idea he was so close. Flamey burning alive, tried to get the shot off with the op anyway, and couldn't do so. Valda finds the kill onto him. They'll double up that Molotov as well. Delay the CTs further. Now this boost is common and actually extremely powerful when you have vision. Flashes again, and Valda, 3 kills in the round. Just Electronic to find, and I don't think he will be. He's going to try and save this weapon. They don't have any money on the Na'Vi side. We talked about it. If they're going to bring Dust2 in as an experiment to this map pool, I wouldn't even say experiment. If they've used the holiday season, the beginning of 2019, to prep this map for the major, for their map pool, to strengthen their depth as a team, they've got to make it work. And if they can't right now, they go to Nuke next, which means this series could easily slip away 2-0 towards North.
What a journey that would be for those guys after crashing out in a horrible fashion at the minor to come and win their next tournament against Na'Vi as well, a top 5 rated team. That would definitely boost the confidence, as they'll have a bit of downtime from tournament play or the major going on. I'm sure you're all aware at this point North won't be attending. Na'Vi certainly will, and yes, they're in the grand final, but it has not been an easy path here. They had to battle through, and I really mean battle through the lower bracket. It was like 15-10 map points against them multiple times, had to make huge comebacks and massive plays, but I guess it's character building, and we'll wake them up before the major. They still have a couple of weeks. They missed the first segment as they're in the final 16 already, and they'll still have time to rebuild. I think they'll get a lot of decent notes here. You can see a passionate coach behind them there. He's called Kane. He's been around for a long time. Used to be a player himself, playing a lot of these boys, and now he just provides the tactics and gives his input every 30 seconds or so when required.
Package deal with Zeus as well in a lot of ways, the in-game leader. So the coach and the in-game leader are on the same page. They both came back from Gambit after Zeus was removed from Na'Vi, went to Gambit, somehow put together an incredible run, won a major in Poland and Krakow in the middle of 2017, July of 2017, and then afterwards they decided and debated whether they wanted to take a different approach within the team, and Kane was on the out, so Zeus went with him. It was that simple. They were sticking together, so there's a lot of rapport between the two of them. Missed shot from Cadian on the AWP, chance to try and take down one at long. Pistols get closer as a result. In fact, they'll take over pit and the offside of the entrance, but it's still pistols against rifles, and it goes back over toward B.
CZs and some armor. With just an 80 in the smoke, there shouldn't be too much to handle. North just want to make sure they deploy the core fundamentals of Counter-Strike, the buddy system, the trade potential, and make sure they are utilizing grenades. Even though they know they're up against pistols, you want to drop all your smokes, your Molotovs, because Na'Vi have some of the deadliest pistols in CSGO. Their Desert Eagle, their CZ especially, Electronic CZ, he uses that thing like a rifle, and just as I call him out, there it is. He'll get the first kill and be taken down. That's Edward to bring it into a 4-on-4.
Flamey found Katie and doubles up, finds a second one through the door, trying to collect the gun that was dropped, and it's Electronic. He just mentioned his rifle-esque CZ, tapping potential of it. It's gone.
It's unreal. I've been kind of watching him closely with that weapon this tournament. I just can't believe the unspeakable things he's doing with that pistol. It's so strange to watch. Reminiscent of when RPK was the king of the CZ and he used to tap with it so much. It doesn't really work as effectively anymore, but somehow Electronic makes it work.
RPK will be at the major with Vitality. Good to see the story of sort of the leftovers in the French scene come to life. They actually,
the real promise at this point.
They have officially within the France nation passed all other opposition, meaning they're ahead of G2 now in the standings, or in the rankings, I should say. Pretty impressive.
Well, it would be impressive if Simple can do anything with this. Desert Eagle, one of his better weapons, as you can see. Give him an inch, he'll take a mile, as he gets a shot right through the crack of the door there. It's not going to be changing the round at all, but that certainly did. Nice little wall bang from Cadian. just to guarantee them the mid area. We are going to see rifles brought up from Na'Vi now. So yes, we discussed this going in. A map they're trying to add into their pool. Up and down results so far. It seems like the CT side, we casted this at Pro League a few times, the CT side, especially that B side of the map, was a massive problem for them. And we'll see now with a simple AWP coming out, will Cadian be able to land the shot this time?
Gets there aggressively. He did land it. Credit to him. Zeus just happened to be jumping, and therefore it was the shin bone that he clipped. The only portion of the body, the legs, that aren't a one-hit kill from the AWP. Simple shows us that the torso certainly is. He'll take down both Gary, AZ, now Volda as well. Just dancing behind the boxes. Full control and catches Gade jumping back as well. Finally, Na'Vi win a CT round, and it comes on the back of 4 op kills from Simple.
Oh, it's just so calm as well. There's just no doubt in his mind he's going to hit all of these. To be fair, I'm not sure why there's not a single flashbang coming over when the time they commit. At least make him take a shot, be flashed, and then commit like that. They go up completely dry and hoping to catch him by surprise, I suppose, but ultimately they just give him a shooting gallery, almost quite literally there. Just ducks him a line as he plucks them all down one by one, and it's going to be round 23 as Na'Vi will get double digits as the flash over. For long, they get a challenge to control this time. Great grenades, and we're about to find the first kill. So many flashbangs and utility deployed here. It is going to be a trade though. Kiabi fighting back through the smoke. That's Zeus going down. Gade still committing to the A split. Maybe he wants to bail out and go towards those mid doors.
Oh, he did try and get back out, sneak in with the op, take advantage of the peak, but couldn't do it. Smokes down means Simple is taken from vision. He wants to push through, and he will. Oh my God, how did he hit that? How was he that fast? Gun barrel showed, you could clearly see Cadian had the advantage, and somehow Simple still just absolutely destroys him.
So something quite special about this man. Like we said, for those not familiar, 21 years old and at this point considered one of the greatest of all time in terms of Counter-Strike form. The things he can do with the AWP, the rifles, the pistols, not many other players can. Electronic certainly tries to rival him as he finds the headshots there. Perfectly played, and it's going to be a 3 versus 1 now. Kiabi, with 45 seconds, yes, he has a chance, but it would take something quite magical here to get down towards CT spawn undetected and somehow find a kill.
Actually looks like he's going to bounce the smoke down CT, but peek behind it. Oftentimes that's entirely by design for 2 reasons. One is it can be disguised as a flash. Sometimes you'll catch people looking away, but 2 is if you smoke off CT, chances are you're probably not going to peek it. So he's looking for surprises in all possible ways. Didn't really work out for him. Back-to-back rounds, Na'Vi. We get back to a tie situation. Odds are going back and forth throughout on GG.Bet. They're live and updated each and every round based on people's trends on the website. And North's actually the favorite based on the last, 7 rounds of this half. Rightfully so in some ways. They've taken control of the game in many ways, including the economy until now. And that's why the tactical timeout comes in. They've got to discuss the situation.
It's all about the tactics, the setup, the approach, discussing what your enemy might do, and understanding their tendencies. That's usually what the coach is used for. He analyzes the opposition. There's demos available. Just like any other traditional sport, you can download the gameplay of your opposition and how they like to play certain positions and try and counter that. But you can't focus too much on it. You need to be aware of the tendencies, but not try and focus on it, because sometimes these top players, they are going to be aware of that prospect and change things up and try and have variations of each of their strats as they tie things up almost 12-11. Na'Vi now back on the AWP setup. It will be Simple this time in towards the mid position, looking towards short, but vision taken away. And we'll head towards that B bomb site as Kiabi full short control here. I'm not sure if there's a CT in spawn or not. There he is. It is going to be electronic. Should be a relatively good nade. Does quite the amount of damage towards Cadian, down to 66 there as they hold up and just wait for the barrage of utility to cease as they hold this position now.
Cadian, though, confident enough, even with that nade damage, he'll watch back out towards CT mid. Na'Vi going back to a more standard defense, not a crossfire set for mid. Simple will watch from window, but a very passive mid. That's more common. Smokes are going to bounce either side as well, which means not only do they cover off CT spawn, they get a little bit further out middle, and they can also wrap back through CT and aid the take from Catwalk. So it is a bit of a ruse to have the double smoke down in mid, because it's misleading as to which way is most likely. And Flamey, he's figured it out. He's got a smoke to work with on the site directly. Small window to fire through, and Electronic's going to aid him in doing so. Bomb drop temporarily. Gate gets the response. Excuse me, it's Volda. That does, but Gade sits on 19 bomb at quad. He's going to have a hard time getting out of there without the assist from his teammates, and Voldo's going to come up from CT, already clearing out the car. Third kill for him. He's looked spectacular in these rounds, mid-round especially, and he looks toward an ace. He's going to have to get Electronic immediately after. He got Gade down. He looks back, knows where Volda is, trying to shoulder bait him out. He's forced off to the pistol because he can't get the reload, and still he shuts it down. Volda gets 4 kills, and Electronic equals that total to win out the round.
That's 2 Titans just locking horns there. Oh my goodness, I love that from Valda. You brought it up perfectly, Matt. Those 2 smokes designed to take vision away, of course, from CT Spawn and indeed the window, the position Simple was holding. Valda snuck through all the way towards Spawn, a position I actually think is not utilized enough on the T side. If you can get through there, that's a very effective way to surprise CTs. That's exactly what Valda did. They had no idea he was there. Gets 4 kills in total, down to the 1v1 with Electronic, who was finding multiple frags himself, and somehow he comes out on top after pulling out a USP.
Interestingly enough, too, you say the CT wrap, certainly on that side, going to A is a surprise. But remember the drop strategy?
Sure.
Quick smoke cat.
Yep.
4 other teammates, 2 on tunnels, 2 in mid, and then you drop down and surprise the player already rotating. We don't see that as much anymore.
Mouse Sports still do it a lot, but, well, who knows what's going on with those guys, to be honest,
Sure.
as we heading towards the B bomb site. Great shot from Gade. It's up to Simple now. He is at the window, a predictable angle. Will he be able to find multiple kills there? He gets the 1, but nice trade. Good positioning there from Kiabi.
It's the advantage to North, and this would certainly stifle the efforts of Na'Vi to try and pull back into this game, despite that they've won 3 in this half now. What was 9-6 in their favor. They don't have a lot of money left over. Bomb's already planted as well.
We'll see what can be done here, but yes, that's an absolutely massive round there for North. Edward and Zeus, almost 0 chance of winning this one, trying to hold on to their weapons at this point. A relatively safe angle for Zeus to hold in T-spawn. They've got incendiaries and smokes, and actually very worthwhile holding on to those because they're going to get $1,400 per player into the next round. Edward will be able to drop 1 M4. Zeus potentially a FAMAS or probably UMP, and Simple with just 700 there. He really won't be able to get much more than a Deagle armor.
Well, I expect he'll get one of the rifles. If they're going to drop, I expect it's going to go to him. Electronics, the other candidate, based on... It is.
That is optimistic.
But you can understand the mentality behind it, right? Get the rifles in the best hands for them. Simple's capable on the Deagle, you're right. So maybe it is Electronic they lean toward. He only had 16.
Just to be clear, I agree with you. I'm just saying this is Na'Vi.
Sure, yeah, that's true. Each to their own.
Yeah, this is the way that normally goes down. But yes, I would agree. Give it to Simple, absolutely. There's a tactical pause. As we said, they've got some decisions to make at this point. This is the grand final for those of you just walking by and wondering what's going on here. Top rated within the top 5 in the world. Na'Vi currently in the lead, and Dust2 on their map pick. They're playing for a total prize pool of $50,000 here. First place prize is $30K, and they're up against North here, who came through the upper bracket and stunned everyone by getting to the grand final after a very turbulent season. This one is the first map of the best of 3. Coming to the bookend of it now. It's first to 16. And it's not clear who'll be coming out on top just yet. It's been very back and forth. And North finally showing us some signs of life, and they might be able to swing this one back in their favor.
Yeah, their T-side's been rather impressive, to be honest. Considering they themselves, not that they're strangers to the map, but don't play it as frequently. They didn't go for a force buy. They just stick with the 2 weapons they already had. They're willing to sit back on the economy, give up 14. I suppose that's the lesser... in some ways of 2 evils. If you give up 14 but buy to deny the win, deny that at least overtime,
sure, versus
let them win against you on a force buy, have no money, give up the 15th round, and then you're really back against it. So they want to win their map choice. They know the situation. Again, Nuke is next, and Danish teams on Nuke. Make no mistake about it, they are absolutely solid. Electronic desperately, even with the silenced USP, meaning the silencer doesn't produce bullet tracers. Volda was able to figure out exactly where he is based on the sound cues and take his head off behind the box. Does the same to Zeus. What a game he's having. What a T-side he's having.
He always performs. I will say this much. This tournament has probably been one of the quietest in recent memory for him. He's normally the absolute star of the team. We've actually seen some other names shining brighter than him, but he is certainly the MVP overall, if you had to pick one, for North in general. Good to see him performing, and Flamey, he'll steal away a Deagle kill, but no way he gets that second. As Edward now left with the AUG, he's got a defuse kit, but very little chance of even getting anywhere near this plant, as they have to hold on to what they have. Simple, that's not much at all. He's got the USP, and I think he's all the way in the long pits, hoping they come hunting for Edward, maybe steal an AK away. But North at this point, they've got themselves in touching distance, Matt, of taking the first map, which is Na'Vi's pick. And remember, it's Nuke next. That is quite the prospect. They could actually do this in 2-0. if they get this first map first. Obviously, this was the eco and designed to bounce back and hopefully get the double orbs out once again and have strong buys going forward.
It's an interesting topic for discussion in the fact that we're talking about last year's major finalist in Na'Vi, finished the year rated number 2, currently rated number 3, due to the fact that Team Liquid won the iBuyPower Masters Cup in California, but it's them that need to be the favorites in this. They need to be going into the major looking as sharp as ever, and they're falling to a team, or could be falling to a team, that didn't qualify. They failed to get out of the minor, the European minor, didn't even make it to the round of 24, which starts up next week in Katowice. So, yeah, that's encouraging for North. Maybe a little bit bittersweet because obviously the major's the goal, and you're still not going to be there even if you do win today. But it's very, very concerning for Na'Vi.
It is concerning, but we've seen them with greater comebacks in this tournament so far. Remember, against AVANGAR, they were 15-10 down. And once those guys get going, once they find a couple of rounds, they steal a couple away and break down your economy and morale, they can definitely pull games back, no problem whatsoever. And I think that's what Kane was going for here in that tactical timeout, saying we should play with the double orbs. We should make sure we get everything we need and start deploying some of these new strategies we've been working on in practice, maybe some different pushes and variations of our setups. We'll see what they can bring to the table here as Dust2 comes to a climax. We'll see what is going to be happening here. What's the purchase? So the single orb and a FAMAS for Flamey, focusing on utility. Simple. Not going to be boosted, but he is patrolling the A bomb side. As Cadian looks at that early pick, you can get players jumping up towards the platform, and indeed, Edward does get himself boosted by the tunnel. That is a bit of a pre-fire position. Valda will be checking this one, and we'll see if he gets the kill. Indeed he will, and that's what we discussed in the pre-game here. That B bomb site might not be a problem after all. Electronic hits a stunning shot like that and buys him a little bit of time.
And he's going to rotate back through after smoking himself off at the door. He gets in from the window, but spotted by Gate. Didn't expect the shoulder to be so far forward. It's Zeus. I think he was hoping he does get away with it. I think he was hoping Electronic was still going to be alive. He was committed to window on the flames and elects to just jump into the site. You say nice work to get one. That's all things considered, because now Simple's left alone in a 1-on-3.
That is what I mean. The fact he does make that play and just somehow gets a kill out of it, that's as good as it's ever going to get, right? And Cadian will find them. Map point on Na'Vi's pick of Dust2. Really, really well done. I love that play. Like I said, that boost spot, it really isn't that viable anymore, I don't think, at least. If they're going to contact play into you, best you're going to do is get one off that. If they check it, you're going to get absolutely nothing, as the AK always prevails. It's very easy to preempt where that will be, and if you're playing B solo in that position, how do you drop utility? How do you buy yourself time? How do you fend them off if they do trade you out? Because once you go down, you're a solo B player, what are the options from there? There's not really anything at all.
Double flash long, but no commitment. Instead, they want to rush down middle, and rightfully so. They find Edward stuck in the corner, completely blind. Absolutely no escape plan with that many targets and guns aimed this direction. Zeus, UMP, it can be tricky from range. Somehow they get away with it because Simple also pushes through. He gets one of the CZ. That'll give him a weapon from the kill. And then actually got the man advantage as Flamey inside of the site dances back out for the box, left, then right. Rather the other way around. Depending on the perspective you look at it, I suppose. As Cadian's forced off, they might just get this back one further round and still have a chance to force overtime.
Like we said, Na'Vi are the masters of the comeback. Plenty of money for North there, so they still get a couple more chances in it. That's not to say this round is over. Cadian with a minute on the clock, and the bomb on his back. AWP as well on a map like Dust2. If he just gets one opening pick, a chance to plant, which might actually be happening right now as the low HP player. Oh, Zeus, he faces long. One bullet from that P250 takes him down, but he hits the shot. So well played to him, but it could have come crashing down had he been dropped there. Cadian not exactly expecting a player on the corner in that sort of scenario, and it will be one step closer to overtime. We've had plenty of those this tournament as North will take the tactical pause, and a team that's been known to give away these sort of leads before. It's been a thorn in their side for a year or so, having got to round number 15 and unable to close those games out.
Typically has been an issue in the Danish scene in the past with other teams as well, to be fair. That was a famous issue that Astralis had well back in the Dignitas days, even some of the TSM early periods. They got the op crucially as well. After Zeus got the kill, he had just enough time to run forward and grab that, so that saves them spending 47.50 on one if they didn't catch them on, even had the availability of doing so. It'll strengthen up defense. That'll go in the hands of Simple. And we will wait to see how this unfolds, because North still have a chance. 2 map points to play off of to wrap this up.
Na'Vi still with a single AWP. One round will do it for North, and what's the call that's been made? Cadian once again trying to push in towards that B side. And I think we do have the orb. Simple actually ready to challenge. A flashbang to push Cadian off. He peeks the tunnels and he's happy. Nothing's there. They drop a lot of damage on him with those HEs. Down to 29 HP on the sniper there. He needs a smoke just to bail out as they fall back. He wanted to try and get the opening pick, presumably on Edward, and that's why Simple's come over there. Just to fend them off and show a little bit of presence and help his little brother out.
Rolled it back with Cadian in mid. Bounce flash over top of the doors. No one on the other side, but it would have pushed them back or deterred their vision enough to get the angle, and that's all Cadian wants on the AWP. See the approach from North. Slow it down, try and work every area on the map. Get the defense moving. Have them second guess their positions, and in transition or off on the rotations, you might be able to catch them out and take advantage of it. Meanwhile, Electronic has positioned himself back in the box, interestingly enough, to spot Cat more cleanly.
40 seconds remain. Still a 5-on-5. Cadian, the only casualty so far, wounded. But he is the team sniper. That's not a huge issue. And once again, that's Valda trying to sneak through towards Storm. We discussed this idea before, where Simple seems to be more aware of the prospect now. 25 seconds, he's made it in, and they're going for a B split now. He cancels it, and Edward, who drops the perfect incendiary now and baits out AZ. That's a really strong play. So's that. Looks like the round might be tied up. They've got no time left. They're going to have to find multiple kills very quickly, but Simple's not missing a single bullet here. Round over. Cadian left with nothing, and that's perfectly played by Na'Vi. That one incendiary, Matt, just to read it perfectly.
Oh, he's lucky he hit that shot, Cadian. He needs to be careful, though. Simple knows that if he gets him now, he's going to lose the AWP and all the subsequent cash. Oh, he luckily gets away with it, but they've got no money left over. Navi's absolutely in a position to put this into overtime, and as you say, they never let you get away with the game, do they?
They never do.
Forced overtime. I suppose they kind of actually, they had the comeback on Heroic. Heroic kind of forced out overtime, to be fair, but still, it was overtime for them on Mirage this morning. That was the only series that Navi's played and actually won 2-0. In each of the other series, it was 2-1 or 2-1 against them in the opening bracket against Heroic the first time. So it hasn't been a clean tournament in any stretch of the imagination.
For anyone, really. Every single series this tournament has gone 3 maps apart from one. So will this be any different? I'm not so sure. Nothing separating these two teams right now, as you just mentioned. Overtime actually looking quite likely at this point. The money being whittled down. It's Cadian's orb that has to be large and in charge here. The odds coming through from GG.Bet, our esports bookmaker here, have them relatively close. You can see there's not much separating them. North slightly favored there on the left-hand side. And oh, it's not looking pretty, Matt. It's Deagle's AK, not even plural, a singular AK, and it will be Cadian's orb. They're going to have to go for some sort of execution here. Use power and numbers and try and overwhelm, presumably that B site. It was where the weaknesses seem to be found.
Easy, slowly. He'll work toward Electronics positioning. Smoke drop early. Didn't actually want to make contact that time. He'll rely on the utility to buy about 18, 15 seconds and a bit of room to rotate. So he'll move back toward the site itself. That actually gets him in a more dynamic position in some ways to support long. But right now, North has absolutely no commitment in any position on the map. Bit of an investigation going on toward B. Valda with the AK, that single AK you talked about, trying to see if he can find a pick, but even then he doesn't have the confidence to look into the site as of yet.
We know Valda's the star player. It hasn't been his best tournament. If he can find some form now and close it out, all will be forgiven, and the team will be fired up going onto their map pick nuke. They do not want to go to overtime here. That would be a disaster. It would reset everything. All their hard work would be for nothing. We'll see what can happen here. Zeus struggles for the first, but does make up for it. Takes down Gade. Kiabi with the trade of the CZ, but he takes heavy damage there. Valda, same story. AK, I'm not sure it's going to deliver, and Edward ready for it. It looks like we're going to overtime unless they can turn this around. Great flashbang. Kiabi can't capitalize upon it. He only had the pistol there. And again, in the open, Cadian, AWP. Can he hold it up?
Simple's aware. He saw bullet tracers coming out from Catwalk, so he knows he can't peek the wall. And he knows he's got to stay alive on top of the site as they get closer and closer. AZ, Deagle in the face. He's got this down. Smoke to cover the cross. Edward's not going to have any vision. He just wants to watch the platform, and they caught it out. They actually got that. He got caught out on the edge of the smoke, and they've clutched it back 16-14 without weapons to work with.
I have no idea how that even finished. It was looking likely that Edwards would get the shot on the bomb site. All of a sudden, Cadian gets the pick, and that's what the boys needed. Had they have gone to overtime that night, I feel like their morale would have been crushed. They had to do it with just one AK, the AWP. Cadian said he's been looking for his form. He's been trying to make that AWP work and find some team chemistry. They get the advantage here now on their opponent's map pick. This could be the one. We move on to Nuke next. We know they're strong, and Na'Vi do struggle. They thought they had it. It was in the bag. 3 pistols in that last round.
And you have to point out what led to the pressure on Simple. Fantastic shot by AZ. Zeus had an incredible position at long. 2 players walk out in front on the AUG, and he couldn't convert the spray. Only got one of them, and then Simple was just overwhelmed. The positioning was off at that point. Electronic, we saw he was already swinging and was caught out for it.
A crazy finish there as well. So quick. It looked like they didn't really have much of a chance there to close it out. The AWP was out of position. The smoke was down. 2 kills. Bam. Done. And there we go.
The smoke deployed as well. From the perspective we were looking at it, we didn't see the massive gap on the right side of it.
Sure.
I thought that was going to completely cover Edward. I think he may have thought that too, because like you say, he was looking directly up onto the bomb site, trying to catch the bomb in transition, just immediately plant. That's done. They pretty much win the round. Little does he know he gets peeked from immediately beside him, and boom, he's just sitting in the open.
Really exciting game. We didn't get the overtime, but we certainly had the fireworks there. Plenty of top-tier players delivering on the server there, and this one's just warming up. What are your thoughts going in towards Nuke on this?
I'm a little worried for Na'Vi, I have to say. I mean, we started this segment off painting that exact picture. We know how good Danish teams are, North included, even when they had the Cajun B arrow in North. They are so good at rotating. They're so good at keeping control of outside. Sure, Navi's got a ton of potential, and they could easily still win it. I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow do. But I favor North going into that, so stealing Dust2 is pretty crucial.
It's a team map. You can't have single carries on Nuke. It doesn't have the same access points as other maps. You can't just run around and kill everyone. You need team efforts, you need executions, timings, and variations. Na'Vi haven't displayed that so far this tournament, and maybe North can actually get the 2-0 here. Is it going to happen? You're going to have to find out after this break.